Hey, this is Editor Max here. Just for a warning and the intro to this video. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the World of Max, where we do a bunch of crazy shenanigans. Today, we are going to be reading my longest and unfinished book I wrote. It's called Lost Memories. Before I start the video, content warning. It is gory, and it does have some, I'd say, hard, bad words in it. I think there's maybe like 10, maybe more F-bombs, couple S-words. So yeah, I don't really want to blur them. I usually blur when I say bad words, because the reason why I don't want to is because it's part of the book. It's not just me randomly saying them. So yeah, I don't know if I'll blur them or not. Depends. Depends on what it sounds like when it's when it's blurred. Okay, anyways, enjoy the video. Bye-bye. Well, I'm gonna check on my this real quick. Okay. You can't see it, but I have my computer thing open. Okay. Wow. Okay, I have 33 pages written in this book. That is insane. Okay. I guess we're gonna read Lost Memories. I guess just to show you that I wrote this, I could do this. There you go. Lost Memories, a fictional war story by Max Ducone, which is me. Yeah. That's just to show you that this is 1000% mine. This was my idea. This is me. Because it is actually. There we go. As Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." That's the quote for this book. I'm not gonna read that, but that's the list of characters I have so far in the book. Okay. Part 1. The Field. January 15th. What the hell? That was a couple days ago. January 15th, 2023. 8th grade. Regular school, regular people. Twisted law. I was 14 years old. My name? I don't remember. Well, at least not anymore. This was a time when a lethal virus was spread across the world. At that time, 82,583 people had died. Well, that's at least what they were saying. Now it's somewhere around 5 million. I was hanging out with my friends as I would every day at school. We would always chit-chat about the usual topics boys would talk about in middle school. Girls, video games, movies, or just nothing of importance. That day's topic was about a specific video game that had just come out. Now it's about 7 years old. I don't remember anything about the game because my mind was astray thinking of something else. The night before's dream. I had a dream of a field. The field was littered with weapons, shells, and bodies. Red, silver, and khaki were the new colors of what was... I'm gonna put a stutter / mixed jumble words counter right there. That's number 1. Red, silver, and khaki were the new colors of what was once a beautiful, tender field, which had now become the stage of a ruthless battle. The air, which would normally be soft and would carry a gentle breeze, was now heavy with the screams of dying fighters and the scent of blood, something no survivor would ever forget. 2 untrained armies were fighting each other without knowing the true reason, but it started to become clear which side would win. The wounded of the losing side were scattered across the field, and the faces of the fighters were grim with sorrow and anguish. Fighting was useless, but they'd fight to the death. With victory ready for the taking, the winning side fights with a sense of relief, knowing all will be over soon. Some have succumbed to hysteria and were mumbling things about home and family, while others could only think of what they left behind. The toll on both nature and humanity was disastrous. I thought to myself that it would likely take a lifetime before the field would recover. The weaponry, rubble, and blood had taken the places of bushes, trees, and scrubs. "Yo, dude, you okay?" my friend said. We did have the same name before it happened. Turned out I had passed out. "Yeah, I'm fine. Get your hands off of me." School went on like every other day. I just wish this was how it went for the rest of my years of school. Part 2. No Goodbye. April 21st, 2023. A beautiful day. The sun had just come out of its hiding spot that the day before storm had scared it to. The beautiful spring trees blew in the gentle wind. It was morning, so the sun was coming out, reflecting off the water droplets on the trees. We were leaving math class when it happened. The intercom turned on and the principal's voice spoke. I remember her voice scratchy and somewhat scared when she spoke these words. "Oh, boys, go..." I'm just going to use my regular voice. "Oh, boys, go over to the Fire Road entrance." The message was only sent to the middle school classrooms, most likely because what was about to happen was something we could handle. When we got to the Fire Road, 5 men in khaki uniforms were waiting for us. Behind them was a huge big bus. The first sergeant asked our math teacher, Mr. J, to come over to where he was. I walked over to my friend, redacted, to talk. I don't remember his full name due to the accident. "Dude, what do you think is happening?" I asked him. "Don't know," he said. After a little while, Mr. J walked out in front of the soldiers and told us something that would change our lives forever. His voice was shaky when he spoke. I'd never seen him like this before. It looked like no one had. Usually, he was jolly with surfer slang, but now his voice was sad. His tan face was now pure white. Boys, you guys are going on a little field trip to a military school. Your family has already agreed for you to go, so no need for any complaints." The first sergeant went over to Mr. J again and whispered in his ear something else. "Oh, and one more thing," he said, taking a deep breath. "They won't come to your funeral." He walked over to the back entrance and went through the door, slamming it behind him. That was the last time I saw him. Well, I think anyway. Like cattle, we were herded into the slaughterhouse. By that, I mean the bus. I sat next to my friend Redacted and started to talk. He tried not to talk about what was happening We tried not to talk about what was happening at that time, so we started asking questions about the weather, how's your pet, things like that. We ended up just looking out the window, not talking to each other. The bus started up. As the bus started to move out into the streets, I looked out the back window at my school building, knowing that that moment would be the last time I would ever see something familiar again. We turned to the right, then took a left, and we were out of the school grounds. I watched as my life flashed through my eyes, memories when I was younger. There was the hospital where I had to go for a checkup. There was the old pizza place where my family and I would eat. There was my mom's old work, all those hours at that desk, typing away at a keyboard. And then we were on Highway 1, barreling down the road. Trees flew past me, swaying with the breeze. After what seemed like years, the bus stopped, right in front of a military marina. "Boys, welcome to your new home, Bronzalla Glen Harbor." Part 3. A New Beginning. "Get out of the bus!" the first sergeant yelled. We formed a single line and filed out of the bus. The ground was muddy, the skies were gray. Out in the distance was a choppy ocean. Thunder clapped. Rain started to pour down, making the ground soggy and sloshy. "You are to follow Sergeant Johnson to your tent, where he'll be staying for the next 5 months." He marched off to another tent and left us with Sergeant Johnson. Sergeant Johnson walked over to the tent, gesturing for us to follow. Once we were all in the tent, he glanced outside the tent, zipped it up, and looked at us. "I'm not who you think I am. I just want to make that clear. I'm supposed to be strict and yell, but that's not me. I think it's up what they're doing to you guys. It's like we are the Germans in World War II, drafting 10-year-olds and 7-year-olds in the war with trickery." He continued talking about the twisted government and politics no one at our age would have cared for. Now that I am older, I most likely would have needed the good information he gave us, but I was too busy playing chopsticks with Redacted to care. Gunfire, smoke, screams. I was running for my life, getting tracked down by a T-14 Armada tank. All I have is a M4A1 5.56mm carbine assault rifle. I have exactly 5 seconds before the tank reloads. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I ran and died behind a rock. I peeked over the top and I saw right down the barrel of the tank. I saw the bullet come out. It wouldn't be a bullet though, right? It'd be something else. Alexa, what is a tank round called?
A tank on the ground is commonly referred to as a septic tank or a cesspit.
Alexa.
It is a concrete, brick, fiberglass, or polyethylene structure buried in the soil that collects household wastewater.
Alexa, what is a bullet of a tank called?
A bullet tank is a type of storage container.
Alexa, stop! Okay, she's no help at all. I jolted awake. The cot I was sleeping on was wet with seawater and sweat. I got up and unzipped the tent. The big yellow moon was shining down on the choppy water. Out in the distance was a huge attack ship, moving up and down with the waves. I looked at the water for a long time, thinking about home, and my parents who cared and loved me. My friends and family, my special someone I love dearly. But that was a long time ago. That was in the summer of 2021. Sorry, I lost my spot. Oh, here we go. She was diagnosed with this damn virus that's been going around and passed out onto the great beyond a week before the next school year started. A tear came to my eye. "Are you a little homesick, soldier?" someone behind me said. I turned around. There was a boy around the same age as me. "You'll get over it. By the way, my name is Private Black Owl. I'm a training sniper specialist. What's your name?" My name is Redacted. Just got here, so I'm currently not in training for anything. Nice to meet you, Redacted. When I say redacted, that's just because the format I wrote it in. I didn't want any names. I didn't want to put names, right? So I had like a dash, 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 and like it's black on regular screens, but since it's a black screen here, it shows it. So that's why it shows the dashes. Black Owl said, holding out his hand. I took it. We shook hands. "I will see you at 0500. With a nod, Black Owl disappeared into the darkness, leaving me alone with my thoughts. At that time, I had no idea what time 0500 meant. I soon realized the next day it meant 5 o'clock a.m. I took one more look out at the calm water, turned around, and went inside the tent. That was my first day in the military. Part 4. Colonel Boozlehound. Silence. Only the sound of the waves. Then, out of nowhere, sirens went off. I thought we were getting bombed, but it was just a wake-up call. I got up realizing I had no clothes to change into. It was like Sergeant Johnson read my mind because he said, Today you all are Today you all are getting new suits. He paused. In case y'all were wondering, he said, a shy smile going across his face. Must have been a coincidence, I thought to myself. Once everyone got ready, we walked out of the tent in a single file line. I noticed Black Owl coming out of a different tent across from me. I waved, but he didn't respond, just looked the other way. It had stopped raining, thankfully, but the ground was still mucky. It was gray out, the waves were choppy, and they crashed down to the earth. The landscape around them was obliterated. I later learned that this was the usual atmosphere of Brunnsville Harbor. It was like God was disappointed in the military's behavior. Maybe a little bit angry, too. We went into the area that I suppose was the laundry room, or as they called it, the washroom. It was a small stone building with 3 washers on one side and 3 dryers on the other. In the middle of the room, there was a plastic foldable table with 3 stacks of neatly folded uniforms. Then I understood. 3 washers and dryers, 3 stacks of uniforms, 3 squad leaders. Each one of the squad leaders went up to the table and started throwing uniforms at us. After about 2 minutes, the 3 stacks were gone. An older-looking soldier came in from the back door with an empty bottle. Goddamn spoiled brats roaming freely through my arena. Not even giving me a proper welcome. The respect is like a goddamn jail cell. Hell, the respect is probably better than in that hole, he said, his words switching between angry and happy. Everyone, this is Colonel Major Boozlehound, Sergeant Johnson said, walking towards Colonel Boozlehound. Oh, you too, Colonel Boozlehound said. Sir, have you been drinking again? Sergeant Johnson said, looking suspiciously at Colonel Boozlehound. Can a man have a drink anymore? In peace without some asshole like you telling me otherwise? Colonel Boozlehound said, swaying back and forth in a desperate scramble to try to get away from Sergeant Johnson, who now was approaching him slowly. Sir, get back here, he yelled after Boozlehound. Boozlehound stumbled to what he thought was a door, which he also thought he left open because he went through it. He went through and yelled, "Catch me if you can, you," and he ran smack into the brick wall. He fell straight to the floor with a bang. That was the first encounter with the crazy Colonel Boozlehound. After we all got our uniforms, we headed back out to the tent to change. The suits were stiff and itchy, but they did fit, which was a plus. Okay, once you are all ready, we're going to the training grounds, Sergeant Johnson said. Whatever, most of us said. I heard him whisper under his breath. No respect anymore. Once we were ready, Sergeant Johnson said, we have to travel 5 miles to the training grounds, so be ready in 10 minutes, he said. I didn't know what we were getting ready for, given the fact that we had nothing. I asked Sergeant Johnson if I could go outside, and he nodded. I went to the rock I was at the night before. The sun was coming up from behind the mountains. It glistened off the foggy water. Beautiful, isn't it? Said a voice from behind me. Black Owl, what's up? I said. I could recognize his voice even though we met a night ago. I found something, he whispered, coming closer. What did you find? I asked questionably. Well, back in the 1940s, World War II was going on. We were going up against Nazi Germany and their evil leader Hitler. Well, Hitler started throwing kids into the war. They would sometimes tuck pipe bombs in their uniforms and tell them to go hug the American soldiers. My theory is the American military is in a secret war with someone and they're running out of soldiers, so they're using Hitler's evil tactics to their advantage. This is total bullshit, I said. I know, but there's nothing we can do about it. They're the military, for crying out loud. They control everything in this place, Black Owl said, looking around. I'm sorry for my language, but I have to prove my point in this, Black Owl said. I totally understand. You should probably get back to your tent before they leave without you, Black Owl said. I looked at the tents and started to walk. I turned around to say bye to Black Owl, but he had already disappeared. I didn't know I put this many bad words in this book. Part 5. The Winding Trail. Let's move out! Sergeant Johnson yelled at us. Just like a bunch of mindless sheep, we started to move. I looked in front of me and saw the climb we were about to take. There was a winding trail that went straight up to the dark clouds. I walked over to Redacted to talk. Hi, he said. No, hi, he said, not looking at me. He always did that. Hi, I said back, watching his face for any signs of anxiety. He had frequent anxiety attacks, and I didn't want to know what they would do to him if they saw him having one. Are you doing okay? I asked him. He looked at me and said, I miss my parents. And then he turned back to the trail. I do too, but we can't think of the stuff we have no control over. We have to be strong, I said, patting him on the back. He wiped a tear from his eye. I know, man, and I'm trying. It's just really hard to forget those who you love and care for, he said, looking at me. If I could do it, then you can. Then so you can. Take two. If I can do it, then so can you. As Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go, I said. Wow, you memorized that verse pretty fast, didn't you? Redacted said, laughing. That's not the point. I know I'm just messing with you. Oh. That's not the point, I said. I know, I'm just messing with you, he said, smirking. Hey, over here, someone whispered to me. I looked to where the voice came from, and to my surprise, I saw Black Owl hidden amongst the thick trees. See you later, I said to Redacted. Okay, so this is the problem I ran into while writing this book. This is to tell like much later when oh my god, why did it get so bright? There you go. So this is a problem I ran into where like the beginning of the book, I didn't say the word I said a lot. He said. But as I go through, the farther it gets, the more I say I said, they said, he said, she said, me said. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to stop me from saying that, but that's literally what the book says a lot. I turned and went into the trees. What are you doing here? I said to Black Owl. I snuck out of sniper training and come and talk to you. Why? I asked. Because a rookie like you needs to learn his ways so he is not lost. Black Owl said, Dude, you're the same age as me. I think I know my way around a stupid trail, I said. Suit yourself. Just watch out for that turn up there, he said, pointing at a spot on the trail. Oh, so scary. See you later, I said, getting up from my crouch position. I started to run up the hill. I saw the turn Black Owl was talking about coming up. Maybe there is something up there and he wasn't lying, I told myself. Up ahead, I saw the rest of the squad. I was the last in line. They were approaching the turn. They kept walking. Seems like Black Owl was wrong, I said to myself. Whoa. Ugh. 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 Sorry. I approached the turn. I heard a snap of a branch. I spun around. A person in a ghillie suit jumped at me. There was a knife in his hand. What the hell? I yelled, falling to the ground. I got up quickly and punched the guy in the face. He stumbled a little way down the hill. I kicked him in the face and he lost his balance and tumbled down. He slammed into a tree at the bottom. I heard a snap. Saw his whole face go white. He coughed up blood and then went still. Holy I killed him, I said, horrified. I heard another stick crack. Whoever these people were, they wanted to kill me. I spun around once again to another person in a ghillie suit. He charged at me, a knife in his hand. I ducked and he went flying over me. He hit a tree and fell down, clearly knocked out. Where are these guys coming from? I said out loud. I heard a loud thud. Turned around. 2 more people in ghillie suits were standing in front of me. They must have jumped down from the tree branch above them. They both grabbed their knives at the same time. They ran at me. The one on the left swung at me and I ducked, but wasn't fast enough to dodge the one on the right. He kicked me in the face and I flew into the sky, and with a thud, I hit the ground. Everything went black. Class, today we are learning the tornado kick, Master Blank said. blank redacted. Why am I here? I said. It's been 7 years since I quit karate. Watch, a voice said. It was mine. I watched as Master, redacted, demonstrated the tornado kick on a punching bag. First, I prepared my guard stance. Make sure to stand with your feet roughly shoulder-width apart. Then transfer your weight to the balls of your feet. Bend your knees slightly as you do so. He then demonstrated what he did. Learn, my voice said. Next, you raise your arms in your guard stance. For those who weren't here when we learned how to do that, you simply just bend your elbows and raise your forearms towards your chest. Bring your hands below your chin. Keep your hands open and relax. This is so boring. Learn, my voice said again. Every time there's like a dialogue, it says I said. So I'm trying to not say that. I watched as he explained the whole process of the tornado kick. After he was finished, my voice said, "Wake," and everything flashed white. I coughed up blood. The two men in the ghillie suits stood a few feet away from me, their backs turned. I looked around me for some type of weapon. Next to me was a rock. I slowly got up, grabbing the rock as well. I went up behind the one on the left and hit him as hard as I could with the rock. He yelled and then fell to the ground. The other guy turned around and swung his knife at me. It sliced the side of my face. I backed up. I remembered Master Redacted's teachings, teaching us the tornado kick. So that's why my voice told me to learn the tornado kick. It's for this moment right now. Did each step Master Blank told us to do. I jumped and spun my foot around. It hit him directly in his face. He flew through the air and into the tree next to us. His knife flew into the air and I grabbed it. He stumbled back up to face me. I gripped the knife in my hand and ran at him. I pushed the knife into his flesh. He fell backward, took out the knife and stabbed him right in the neck. I heard him drown in his blood and then silence. I ripped the knife out of his neck and got up from my position. I dusted myself off and started to walk off. I heard a groan from behind me. Turned around. The guy that ran into the tree had woken up. He looked around and then focused on me. He reached into his ghillie suit and pulled out a handgun. He aimed it at me. There was a loud boom. I saw the guy with the gun's head. With the gun. I saw the guy with the gun. The guy with the gun's head exploded. The lifeless body fell to the ground. What the f***? I yelled. I heard a voice yell, "You're welcome." It was Black Owl. I heard footsteps approaching fast. There's more of them, I said to myself. Got my knife at the ready for more fighting, but instead of more ghillie suit people, it was just Sergeant Johnson. What the f*** is going on here? He yelled at me. I looked around at all the carnage I created. I faced him and said, "Practice." Those were our best field agents, kid. How did you take them out so easily? With only one small scratch, Sergeant Johnson said, bewildered. I don't know. I used some of my karate skills from when I was younger, but most of it was self-defense, I said. Wow, I'm completely surprised that a 13-year-old took out, let's see here, 4 of our best soldiers all by yourself. That's amazing. I didn't take out one of them, I said honestly. Then who did? Sergeant Johnson said, looking around. Black Owl. Who? Black Owl. He's a training sniper specialist. There's only one sniper specialist I know of with the name Black Owl, and he died in the war about 10 years ago. Book gets annoying because of I said, and it says I said, he said like 1,000 times. I mean, this is 8th grade me writing, so I guess you could cut me some slack. Oh, I started writing this book in 7th grade, didn't I? I did! I started writing the beginning of it in 7th grade, but then I changed it. I was a better writer in 7th grade than I was in 8th grade. What the fuck? That's crazy. Okay. The Archives, Part 6. The Archives. What do you mean? I asked Sergeant Johnson. Black Owl was our best damn sniper specialist this world has ever seen. He tragically died when his sniper exploded in his face, Sergeant Johnson said. But I have been talking to him since I got to this place, I said, confused. Let me show you. Follow me. He started to walk up the hill. I started to follow him. We walked in silence for what seemed like a lifetime. Finally, I saw a clearing. I whispered under my breath. We finally made it. Not quite, Sergeant Johnson said. Out of nowhere, he turned into the trees to the left. I followed him through the thick trees that twist and turned. Sergeant Johnson stopped. Here we are. The Archives. In front of us was a shack. Am I missing something? It just looks like a crack. It just looks like a crack shack, I said, confused. Just wait, Sergeant Johnson said, walking to the shack's door and opening it. I walked cautiously to the open door and walked in. I heard the door behind me slam closed. Everything around me turned black. Sergeant Johnson, where are you? I said. I'm trying to find the damn light switch. He said, somewhere in the darkness. He said, I said, me said, woo! After a moment, I heard a click, and then the room was filled with light. There was pictures of soldiers that decorated the walls, and soldier uniforms in display cases on the floor. Walk with me, Sergeant Johnson said. He started to walk. I followed. These pictures are the soldiers who were the best in their time. They did heroic tasks none of us today would ever do. But we are here for a different reason, Sergeant Johnson said. He walked over to a display case and pressed it down. The wall behind the display started to shake. What the hell? I said. Walking back, the wall opened up. This room holds the secret archives of war. What I'm going to show you, though, is something bigger than that. I'm going to show you who Black Owl was. Sergeant Johnson walked down to the end of the room where a file cabinet was. He opened it and grabbed a file out. He walked back. Here, have a seat, he said, pointing at the ground. I sat down and watched him. Sergeant Johnson sat down across from me and opened up the file. This is the story of Black Owl. Sergeant Johnson took out a piece of paper and started to read. It was in March 2003 when U.S. forces invaded Iraq. They vowed to destroy Iraqi weapons of mass destruction, or WMD, and end the dictatorial rule of Saddam Hussein. Black Owl was one of the first troops to infiltrate one of the bases. He took every Iraq soldier out by himself. You know, he kind of reminds me of you with those field agents, Sergeant Johnson said, looking at me. Continue, I said. He looked back down at the paper. You see, Black Owl found something inside one of the base's research departments. We still don't know what he found to this day. But after he found that, he showed no mercy to any Iraqi who got in his way. It was December 4th, 2005, when Black Owl died. They had an infiltration mission in one of the main headquarters of Saddam Hussein. Black Owl's team had snuck into the base. Their mission happened to be a trap. Everyone in Black Owl's squad was murdered. Black Owl had to abort and run out of the base. As he ran, he didn't see the minefield in front of him. He was blown to pieces. That was the end to Black Owl, Sergeant Johnson said, putting the piece of paper back into the file. Huh? Wait. I just have some questions about my own writing. It said before that his sniper exploded in his face. Now it says he got hit by a minefield. Sergeant Johnson said, putting the piece of paper back into the file. I just don't get it. Who have you been talking to then? I said, getting up. I don't know. It can't be him because he is long gone, Sergeant Johnson said. I guess it was just my imagination. I saw him smile. A smile I had never seen him make before. Yeah, just your imagination, he said. He walked back over to the file cabinet and put the file back. I had a question, I asked, looking at Sergeant Johnson. What is it? If Black Owl died, then who shot the field agent earlier? Let's not think about that right now. What we need to be thinking about is making you in charge of a squad. No, better than that. Your fighting skills are amazing, even if you did get help from someone. I'm going to take you to the captain to convince him to make you a sergeant. Part 7. So we're almost finished with my book. Part 7. The Captain. Sergeant Johnson walked up Sergeant Johnson walked up the long stairs. At the top was a door inside of a big mountain. Sergeant Johnson knocked on the captain's door. "Who's there?" said a gruff voice from behind the door. "Sergeant Johnson, sir," he said. "The door's unlocked." "No, the door's unlocked. Come on in," he said. Sergeant Johnson grabbed the door handle and opened it. "After you," he said, looking at me. Right before I stepped inside, Sergeant Johnson stopped me. "The captain acts like he's a pirate. His whole room is made to look like an old pirate ship, so don't be weirded out." Whoa. Ring in my ear. Whoa. Vision getting blurry. He said. Okay. As I stepped inside the room, my eyes had to adjust to the dim lighting that was provided by a few flickering lanterns hanging from the ceiling. The air was thick with the musty scent of tobacco and liquor. I noticed that the wooden planks beneath my feet crack with every step, revealing the captain's love for pirate ships. Looking around, I saw rows of hammocks strung up along the walls, each one swaying gently with the wind from the open window. The hammocks are draped with thick, rough blankets and pillows, providing a cozy sleeping area for the non-existent crew. Nearby, I see a large wooden table with benches on either side, covered in maps, charts, and other pointless navigational tools. A compass, an astrolabe, and a sextant are among the instruments scattered about. Ropes, pulleys, and rigging lines crisscross the ceiling, connecting to what must be where the mast and sails were above. The room's wheel stands at the front of the room, towering over everything else. The wheel is encircled by a series of ropes and pulleys, which control the movement of the fake sails and rudder. I notice that the ship walls are lined with various weapons, including swords, pistols, and muskets. A large, ornate chest sits in the corner, likely filled with old treasure and other valuables. "Told you," Sergeant Johnson said, laughing. At the front of the room was a big table with paperwork and other things like pens and pencils. Behind the desk was a huge chair that was facing the large window behind the table. "Captain, I have a guest," Sergeant Johnson said. The chair spun around, revealing a small, plump man with a peg leg. "Why is he here?" the captain said, looking at me. "I brought him to you because I want to make him a sergeant," Sergeant Johnson said. "Why would you ever bring up such a topic as this? He is just a boy," the captain said. I know that. He just so... I'm gonna take two. "I know that. He just has so much potential," Sergeant Johnson said. "How so?" the captain said, leaning forward. "He took out the best field agents in a matter of minutes." "Poppycock!" "I'm telling the truth. Would I lie to you, sir?" Sergeant Johnson said, looking desperately at the captain. "Okay, I believe you, but you better be right." He turned to look at me and said, "What's your name, boy?" "Blank, blank, blank," I said. Literally. "Blank, Blank blank. The captain burst into laughter.
That's the dumbest name I've ever heard,
he said between his roar of laughter.
Let me think of a better name for you.
After a couple minutes of pure silence, the captain jumped up from his seat.
Eureka! I've got it. Your name will be Alfred Bones, and your code name will be the Purple Badger.
Purple Badger? I said, confused.
Yes, Purple stands for becoming a sergeant in a matter of minutes, and Badger stands for being tougher than you look.
The captain said. So what does Alfred Bones mean then?
I don't know. I just thought it was cool,
the captain mumbled. What's your name? Asked the captain.
You can call me Captain Ludak,
he said with a smirk.
Before I finalize the plans to make you a sergeant, I want to see what you're made of,
Captain Ludak said to me. How? He got up from his seat and stood in front of me.
With my hidden training grounds, of course. Follow me.
He walked over to the pulley system and pulled on the ropes. A small section of the floor started open.
Sergeant Johnson, you're dismissed,
he said, pointing at the door. Sergeant Johnson walked to the exit and left.
Okay, now that that traitor's gone, I can actually show you where the training grounds are.
He let go of the ropes and the floor went back together. Why is my version... What is happening? Oh. What? Whoa. What's down there then? I said.
My whiskey storage,
he said, laughing. He walked over to one of the sword racks that was by his desk and pressed down on the middle sword. The wall behind the rack started to open. I peered into the darkness. Captain Ludak walked inside. I heard the click of a light switch, and suddenly the whole room was filled with light. I looked around. The room was filled with various fighting equipment and armor. The walls stretched so far I couldn't even see the end. Captain Ludak walked over to one of the gun racks and picked up one of them.
This is what I want you to do,
he said. I watched him as he proceeded to press a button on the wall. I heard air compression from in the back. I looked in front of me. There were 4 dummies on poles marching their way towards us. Captain Ludak turned and started shooting. When a bullet hit the dummy, it went back to where it started and stopped moving. He shot each of the 4 dummies with precision in a matter of seconds.
Your turn,
he said, handing me the gun. It was very heavy. What type of gun is this? I asked him.
That is an AK-47. Do you know how to operate a gun?
Yeah, I think I got this. I walked over to the button and pressed it. The dummies rose up from the floor. I lifted the gun. I pulled the trigger. Bullets started flying out of the barrel. I hit the first target in the head along with the second and third. I aimed at the remaining target and fired. The bullet went straight through the dummy's head. I turned to look at the captain. His jaw was hanging open.
How in the hell did you get headshots with an AK from 70 feet away? He said.
I don't know, I told him.
My boy, you are a sight to behold. You are special,
he said. Thank you, Captain. Captain Ludak walked out of the room and sat down at his desk. I walked out and stood in front of him. The wall started to close behind him.
Welcome to the team, Sergeant Bones.
Okay, I'll be right back. Refill time. Is this going to be another hour-long video? Come on. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Almost done. I don't think I ever... Okay, I never finished part 10. I was just checking. No, got whatever the hell this is.
Ooh, it's fudge. It's some good fudge.
That was going to take me like 10 minutes to eat it. Part 8. Execution. I rose from my bed and looked out the window. The harbor looked better from this view. Since I was Captain Ludhack's favorite, he gave me his extra room. For the past few weeks, Captain Ludhack was showing me off to the rest of the marina. It was quite tiring. Everyone in the harbor now had a death wish against me because Captain Ludhack just bragged about me. Yesterday, he woke everyone up at 0000 and made them watch me shoot a Glock 17 at a bunch of glass bottles that were 70 feet away. After I finished my show, Captain Ludhack escorted me back to my room. Captain, can I ask you something? I said to him.
Sure, what is it?
When you first met me, you said that Sergeant Johnson was a traitor. What did he mean by that? I asked. He looked up toward the moon.
We have a reason to believe that he has been giving secret documents and other information to the enemy.
Why do you think it's him?
Because he's the person you wouldn't suspect. You see, there's just something about Sergeant Johnson that I can't explain.
Who's this enemy that Sergeant Johnson is supposedly giving information to?
We think it might be the Russians or the Chinese, but we're not too sure,
he said. What is going to happen to Sergeant Johnson?
If we get more evidence that he's a spy, then we will eliminate him, but for the time being, we'll just keep our eyes on him. This leads me to your new assignment.
He paused and looked at me. What is it?
I want you to spy on Sergeant Johnson. Where he goes, what he does, and what he says. You're the only one he trusts because, after all, he showed you the archives.
When do I start?
Right now. But first, we need to get you armed just in case anything goes south,
he said. He started walking and I followed him. We made our way towards his headquarters.
This place is full of secrets,
he said as he opened the door. It looks exactly the same, I said.
You still haven't seen all of it yet.
He walked over to a barrel and spun it around. On the other side was a button which he pressed. A compartment rose up from the floor. There was an assortment of different guns in neat lines on the shelf.
Choose a gun,
Captain Ludhack said. I walked up to the shelf. There were so many different guns to pick from. One caught my eye. It was a revolver. I picked it up.
That right there is a S&W M29, double-action revolver,
he said.
That is a really powerful gun,
he added. I think this is the one I want. Fun fact, revolvers are my favorite gun. That is actually my favorite gun, the S&W M29 double action revolver. That's why I made my character get it. I think this is the one I want, I said, turning the gun around in my hand.
Let's test it first.
He pressed the button on the barrel and the shelf went back into the ground. He walked over to the sword rack and pressed down the middle sword. Once again, the wall behind it opened up. We walked inside. He pulled on the light switch and turned the lights on. I pressed the button. The dummies rose from the floor. I aimed at the first dummy and pulled the hammer down. I put my finger on the trigger and pressed down. The bullet exploded out of the barrel. It flew and hit the dummy in the chest. The dummy exploded and pieces went flying everywhere.
Now try to get a headshot,
Captain Ludhack said. I pulled the hammer back and aimed at the second dummy. I pulled the trigger and the bullet flew out of the barrel. The bullet hit the dummy's head and it exploded everywhere. I did this to the other two dummies with ease.
I think we found your gun,
Captain Ludhack said with a laugh. That voice hurts. That voice kind of hurts more than Penelope's voice. Aunt Penelope's voice. That hurts. I watched Sergeant Johnson from afar. Captain Ludhack had given me an HD camera so I could take pictures. He also gave me a pen and a notepad to write down what he was doing. Sergeant Johnson stopped at the laundry room at 0600. I wrote in the notebook. I watched him as he left. He walked into one of the maintenance sheds. "Who are we hiding from?" said a familiar voice next to me. Beside me was Black Cobble. "You don't exist. Go away." "Oh, so you found out that I'm dead?" "Yeah, I did." "How did they tell you I died? Was it the sniper accident or the minefield story?" "There's multiple stories?" "Yes, but there's only one true one." "What is the true story?" "I found some documents that I wasn't supposed to see, so they killed me," Black Owl said. "Did you die in Iraq or somewhere else?" "It killed me at this harbor," he said sadly. I looked back at the maintenance shed Sergeant Johnson was in. The door is wide open. "Shit, he got away," I hissed. "I'll help you try to find him," Black Owl said. "I have one more question," I said, but he was already gone. I got up from my hiding space and snuck into the laundry room. Everything looked fine. I went inside the maintenance shed and saw that the weed whacker was gone. "Oh, he was just mowing the lawn," I thought to myself. I heard the loud noise of the weed whacker turn on. I followed the sound. After a couple minutes, it turned off. Then I saw Sergeant Johnson. I ducked behind a tree so he couldn't see me. I turned on the camera. He had something in his hands. I zoomed in with the camera. There were some files that said classified on the front. I clicked the button to take a picture. The camera flashed bluntly. I cursed under my breath. Sergeant Johnson looked at the tree and saw the camera. I started to run. "No, it's not what it looks like!" He yelled after me, but I was not stopping. I ran all the way back to Captain Ludhack's ship house. I exploded through the door. "Captain Ludhack, sir! I caught him with classified documents!" I said, panting. I heard him flick his lighter on and light a cigar.
Excellent work, my boy. Did you get a picture?
He asked. "Right here, sir," I said. I handed him the camera. He looked at the snapshot.
Good job.
He pressed a button on his desk, which brought up a microphone. He spoke.
Attention all soldiers,
Take two.
Attention all soldiers of Bronzalglin Harbor. This is your captain speaking. Capture Sergeant Johnson and bring him to me,
He said. He pressed the button and the microphone went back into the desk.
Let's go outside,
He told me. We walked outside. In the distance, I saw a group of soldiers running towards us. In the middle was a figure with a bag over his face. We walked over to greet them. "We got him, sir," one of the soldiers said. The captain walked over to the masked figure and ripped the bag off his face.
Sergeant Johnson, you son of a... I knew it was you,
He said, laughing. "Knew I was what?" Sergeant Johnson said.
The bastard that's The bastard that's been
Like three.
The bastard that's been giving secrets to the enemy,
He said. "I have no idea what you're talking about," Sergeant Johnson said.
Plain dumb, are we? Sergeant Bones,
He said, gesturing to me. "Yes, sir?" I said.
kill him! Kill him now!
"What?"
You heard me! Kill this traitor!
He said. He pulled out a cigar and lit it. I pulled out the revolver.
Everyone back up!
Captain Ludhack said. You don't have to do this. I didn't do anything," Sergeant Johnson pleaded.
Don't listen to him, Sergeant Bones!
Captain Ludhack said. "Yes, sir." I raised the revolver up to Sergeant Johnson's head. I pulled the hammer. I saw the fear in Sergeant Johnson's eyes. Captain Ludhack turned his back as I pulled the trigger. The bullet flew out of the barrel and exploded Sergeant Johnson's head. He was dead. That was the first person I killed. Well, it's not, because I guess I was going for dramatic effect, but it's not the first person he killed, because I killed all those field agents. Whatever. Part 9. Squad 66. Once the body was hauled away and dumped into the ocean, I returned to my room. That's when it hit me. I just killed someone. I just killed someone in front of everyone. My friends were among them. I felt their faces look at me with the utmost fear a person could have. I sat down on my bed and looked out the window. I saw the puddle of blood where Sergeant Johnson's lifeless carcass had been. There was a blood trail that led to where they dumped him. He didn't even get a grave or anything to remember him by. I heard a knock at the door. I got up and opened it. It was Black Owl. Why are you knocking? Can't you just go through the door? I asked him. I didn't know if you were busy. What do you want anyway? To talk to you. You must be in shock after killing your first person, he said with a smile. Who, me? I'm fine, I lied. I could see it in your face, he said. You're as white as a ghost, get it? You're so stupid. See, and that's why you need me more. I could be like a guide and emotional support ghost. I could be there for whatever question you might have, he laughed. I did actually have a question to ask you. What is it? Black Owl asked. Earlier, when I was on the trail, you shot one of the field agents right through the chest. If you're a ghost, then how could you interact with the sniper? How can you even be here talking to me in the first place? It's quite difficult to explain. Well, blurry vision. Damn, hour, 12 minutes. Where'd it go? It's quite difficult to explain, but I'll do my best to tell you in a simple way, Black Owl said. You see, I died at this marina, and the closer I get to where I died, the more human I get. I died at the sniper training ground, which was very close to where you were, and since I use a sniper, I could get closer to using my... I died at the sniper training ground, which was very close to where you were, and since I use a sniper, I could get closer to using my sniper properly, he said. I get it. So, if you're over here, that means you are more of a ghost than you are human, I said. Exactly. You'll learn quickly, Black Owl said. This also means I have limited time here, so I best be going. Okay, see you later. He waved and then disappeared.
Sergeant Bones, we have some plans to discuss,
Captain Ludhag said from behind the door. Okay, be right there. I took a couple of deep breaths and then left.
There you are, my boy. Sit,
he said energetically, pointing at the chair next to him. Sit down.
You have proven your loyalty to me and everyone else at this marina for catching and killing that traitor of a sergeant, he said.
Oh my god, that was so close.
This means I trust you fully,
he said with a smile. Thank you, sir. It means a lot.
My boy, stop with the formalities. Call me by my real name,
he said with a laugh. I don't know your real name. His face turned serious.
Good answer. No one will ever know my name, and if someone did, they would be dead before they could tell anyone.
Okay. So, what are the plans you want to discuss with me? I said, changing the subject. His happy smile returned to his face.
Oh yes, the plans. I have selected the best soldiers in the marina to be a part of your squad,
he said with a smile. He handed me a folder. I opened it. It and the contents spilled to the floor. I cursed. I quickly picked up the papers and looked at them. On the front of each paper was an analysis of each soldier with a picture of what they looked like at the top.
So what do you say?
Captain Ludhag said after a couple minutes. Not to be ungrateful, but don't you think they wouldn't like to be told what to do by a 14-year-old kid? I said.
I have already taken care of that,
he said. I spread the 10 pages across the table and looked over them. Can I suggest my own squad? I asked. I saw Captain Ludhag. Oh my god, what the f is going on? I saw Captain Ludhag's face drown.
Sure, whatever.
Can I have the file and the other soldiers like me? I asked.
You'd rather have a bunch of untrained little kids instead of highly trained soldiers?
Captain Ludek said. I know them, and I am one of them, I said.
Whatever you want,
Captain Ludek said, handing me the file. I opened it.
You can pick 6 people. You will add more later,
he said. Okay. I started to look through the file. I found blank quickly, and then put his file on the desk.
1,
Captain Ludek said. I started picking out more names. Blank, 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 blank.
Are you sure?
He said. Yes, I said with a smile. He pressed on the button on his desk, and the microphone came up. He spoke.
Attention, Bronzoliglin Harbor! Attention, Bronzoliglin Harbor! Please escort the following people to my office, he said.
He started to say the names. After he finished, he pressed the button and the microphone disappeared. He got up and walked to the window by the door.
I hope you're right,
he said to me. I know I am. I walked over to the window and stood next to him. In the distance, I saw the horde of people walking towards us in the distance. In the distance. Wow. 8th grade writing. Amazing. I walked back over to the desk and looked at the people I'd chosen.
I am going to put the fear of God in these friends of yours.
Captain Ludek said. He turned off the lights and lit 2 lanterns. He grabbed one of the swords and put it through his belt. He then put his captain's hat on. I heard a knock at the door.
Perfect timing,
Captain Ludek said. He opened the door. I saw the fear in each one of my friend's eyes.
Hello, soldiers. We have business to discuss,
he said with a creepy smile.
Please, come in.
He walked into the room. The older soldiers behind my friend shoved them into the room. I heard a thump. The captain sat next to me in his chair.
Hurry up,
he said with a gruff voice. They waddled into the room. Blank was the first one to speak. Where's Blank at?
Oh, you mean Sergeant Bones. He's the main reason why you're here.
Why'd one of my lights turn off? Whatever. Captain Ludek said. He clicked on the light switch. He burst with laughter.
You guys were so scared,
he said to them. I looked up from the desk. Hello, everyone. You have been recruited to be in my squad, I said. That, Blank said.
You will do as he says,
Captain Ludek said. The fear returned to his face. Each of you will create code names that you will forever go by, I said. When do we create them? One of them said. Now. There was silence. After about 10 minutes, Blank stood up. I have my name, he said. What is it? My name will be Ace. Good name, I said. He sat back down. Blank was the next one to come up. Mine will be La Cucaracha, he added. No, he said. I nodded. It went on like this for some time. I'd written each one of their names down. Ace, La Cucaracha, Plain Bagel, Shootout, Braveheart, Samurai. I think I have got all I need, I said. More to Captain Ludek than to my friends.
Okay then, now all that has to be done is figure out your squad name,
Captain Ludek said. I walked over to my squad. We're all Christians here, right? They nodded. Okay then, what about Squad 66, since there are 66 books in the Bible? It just works. I thought it over and then nodded. I walked back to Captain Ludek and told him,
Squad 66, clever. Okay, it's decided,
Captain Ludek said. At that moment, there was an explosion. The whole room started to shake violently. I stumbled to the window. There was a huge puff of fire and smoke erupting from the center of the base. I heard the sounds of jets fly by as the second explosion hit the water, sending a small tidal wave in the direction of the destroyed base.
What the is going on out there?
Captain Ludek yelled as he ran to the window. He watched as the third explosion landed close to where we were. He ran to his desk and pressed a button under it. Instead of a microphone, a red button appeared with a covering over it. He flipped open the cover and smashed his hand against the button. Immediately, Siren started to scream.
"There's one thing you don't know about this room," he said
to me. What? What do I not know? I yelled. He smiled and said,
"It's a warship."
Hour and 20-minute video. Another hour. Why are there so many hours? Part 10. Attack on Bronzalglen Harbor. The room started to move out of the mountain. I rushed to the door and opened it. The stairs that were once there were now replaced with 2 big wheels. "What is happening?" Braveheart said. He got up from his chair and went over to me. He looked out the open door and laughed. "Well, I'll be damned," he said. "Ha, funny," I heard Ace say.
"Get away from the door. You don't want to fall out,"
Captain Ludhack said with a laugh. We went back outside and closed the door. The window was now expanding to both ends of the room. Guns popped out of the front and back. We landed on the ground and started to move. The jet flew by and dropped another bomb. It hit us, but nothing happened.
"Yeah, like one missile's going to affect us,"
Captain Ludhack laughed.
"Now, let's fight back. You two, go over there and climb the ladders. They will take you to the top guns,"
he said to Samurai and Shootout. Oh my god, this voice is killing me. They ran to the ladders and climbed them.
"You three, go down the stairs and arm the cannons,"
Captain Ludhack yelled. Ace, Braveheart, and Plain Bagel ran to the stairs and went down them.
"I'll drive while you two load up on guns in case of an ambush from ground troops,"
he said to me and La Cucaracha. I went to the barrel and pressed it. The gun rack came up. La Cucaracha grabbed an M16 and checked the ammo. "I've always wanted to do that," he said. In the distance, I saw a ship start to dock. Captain Ludhack turned to the left. Captain Ludhack, turn to the left. I see a ship docking.
"Good eye, my boy,"
he said. He spun the wheel and the ship started to move.
"Here, take these to get a better look,"
Captain Ludhack said, throwing a pair of binoculars at me. I looked through them. I saw about 100 foot soldiers exiting the ship.
"How many do you see?"
Captain Ludhack said. "A lot." Captain Ludhack pulled down a microphone and said,
Everyone on board, be ready to attack."
He pressed a button on his wheel and the ship started to pick up speed. We flew past destroyed areas of the harbor, making our way to the water. I heard the guns on top start to shoot. The bullets flew past the window and started hitting the soldiers on the ground. They started to shoot back at us.
"They can try all they want. These windows are made from the finest tempered steel and plastics to make the strongest bulletproof glass this world has ever seen. Ha ha ha!"
At that same moment, one of the bullets went through the window and hit him straight in his big leg. It broke and he fell to the ground.
"At least that's what the guy I bought them from said,"
Captain Ludhack mumbled. He tried to get up, but he fell straight back down.
"Damn! Sergeant Bones, you're going to have to drive this ship from now on. I can't get up to steer,"
Captain Ludhack said. I walked over to his wheel and grabbed it. "Where are the cannons at?" I asked him.
"They're on the right side,"
he said. "Why?" Wait, what? Hold on. My vision is getting so blurry, I don't even know why. Hold on. I walked over to his wheel and grabbed it. "Where are the cannons at?" I asked him.
They're on the right side," he said. "Why?"
"I have a plan." I spun the wheel to the left and the ship started to turn. The soldiers on the ground were now about 20 feet away from us. I'll be right back. The soldiers on the ground were now about 20 feet away from us. I grabbed the microphone and put it to my mouth. "Fire the cannons!" Immediately, I heard one of the cannons explode. I watched as it hit a group of soldiers, making their body parts fly everywhere. I heard one of the enemy jets fly by. The bomb it dropped hit the top and blew a hole in the top of the ship.
Well, that was a stronger bomb than before,
Captain Ludek said. Samurai, shootout! Get out of there now! I yelled into the microphone. I heard the Top Gun stop shooting. Samurai and Shootout climbed down the ladder and stopped. That was a close one. Yeah, for sure. Get the other three up here, La Cucaracha said. I grabbed the microphone and told the three that were with the cannons to get up where we were. What's going on? Plain Bagel said.
It's time we stop hiding. Grab a weapon,
Captain Ludek said. What about you? You can't even walk, I said.
I'm fine. Go on without me,
he said to me. Captain Ludek pressed a button on the wall that was by him. Shelves started popping up with various weapons. How many soldiers are out there? I asked. About 20 remain, La Cucaracha said. I went over to one of the shelves and grabbed a VHS-2 bullpup assault rifle. Ace and Braveheart both grabbed Benelli M4 shotguns. Shootout grabbed a semi-automatic pistol. Plain Bagel grabbed an AK-47. Captain Ludek, sir, do you have swords I could borrow? Samurai asked.
Over there behind those barrels is where I keep a very prized possession of mine,
Captain Ludek said, pointing to the barrels. Samurai walked over there and looked behind the barrels. After a minute, he got up and revealing a Hanho Masamune katana.
I've fought thousands of Japanese guards for that,
Captain Ludek said. Thank you, Samurai said.
Let's
move out, I yelled to everyone.
Hey, take this too,
Captain Ludek said. I turned around. He tossed me a shield.
This thing could hold up a tank,
he said with a smile. Thanks, I said as he tossed it to me. We opened the door and walked outside. Immediately, we were fired at. Everyone ducked down behind the shield. The bullets flew past us, some of them hitting the shield. La Cucaracha aimed his gun over the shield and started firing. I heard the blood-curdling cries as the soldiers were dying. We started pressing forward through the rubble. Rubble. Samurai came out from behind the shield and ran into the middle of the enemy. He started to swing the katana around, slicing the enemy to ribbons. I got up from my hiding spot and pulled out my revolver. I started firing. I hit 3 or 4 soldiers before I had to reload. There's about 10 of the 20 soldiers remaining. I heard the sound of jets above us. I looked up. There were 3 of them now. I heard a boom coming from behind us. I turned around. Captain Ludek's ship was exploding. Its big sails came crashing to the ground, followed by fire and dust. I knew for a fact that Captain Ludek had died like a true pirate captain. I saluted him for a moment, then went back to the battle. Braveheart and Ace ran for the battle and started to shoot.
Take that,
Ace laughed as he used his shotgun as a bat and swung it into someone's skull. He then shot him in the head. Braveheart spun in a circle, shooting every which way. He shot 3 of the soldiers. Funny, he said. I looked over the bloody battlefield. There, standing among the dead bodies, was the last enemy soldier. He set his gun down and put his hands in the air. I jumped over the shield and ran over to him. Please don't shoot, the soldier said with an accent. What is your business here? I asked him. I have no idea. I don't want to be racist. I have no idea. We were first here, he said. From the look of your outfit, you're Chinese, but you don't look Chinese, I said. It happened in seconds. The soldier reached for his gun and shot. I watched as Shootout jumped in front of the bullet. It went directly through his shoulder and skimmed my face. I pulled my revolver out and shot him in the head. Shootout, are you alright? I said, squatting down to his level. He was grasping his bloody shoulder. Yeah, I'll be fine. Go check on the others, he said. Samurai was cleaning his blade while Braveheart was laughing and kicking the dead bodies. And that's all I've wrote for Lost Memories, a fictional war story by me. Wow, hour and 30 minutes. That's how long it took me to record this. It's probably going to go down for when I actually edit it. thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you're notified when future videos come out. My vision is getting very blurry. I can barely see my camera. I don't even know what is going on. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Bye, everybody.